Why the G should come first in the acronym for LGBT. Hey, it's Prince of Queens, and a few days ago, oh, by the way, I hope you enjoy my new avatar art. Yes, it is inspired by Prince Ashitaka from the movie Princess Mononoke, which, if you haven't seen, is probably the greatest anime movie of all time. At least in my opinion, it's amazing. Anyhow, a few days ago, I uploaded a video to my channel called Transgender Day of Visibility Cringe, in which I read over a particularly cringy comment that I saw on Facebook. At the beginning of the video, just at the beginning, I talked about how it should be GLBT and not LGBT. And I think I mentioned the reasons being that gay men did the activism work in the 70s or something, but I didn't really extrapolate on it. Well, some person who identifies as a trap on YouTube, they don't have any videos, but that's in their username, they decided to comment and say that I was annoying because I talked too much about how the acronym should be some way or whatever. And honestly, I thought about it, and I really think that I've only talked about the acronym being the way it is in videos where I'm either doing improv, which is not really that often, or on live streams. I don't remember ever actually writing explicitly about how the acronym should be GLBT. But hey, I'm always up for a challenge, though honestly, I am doing this improv, if you haven't noticed already, because I don't feel like writing still, kind of. Okay, so why should GLBT be the new acronym, the new old acronym? Why should it be changed back? Well, first off, we have to think about why it was changed in the first place. According to the person who was arguing with me about this, and by the way, they had some kind of silly, like, they didn't really have any reasons why they think that it was changed, and they literally said as one of the reasons that it should be LGBT, according to them, they think that one of the reasons is that it sounds better to say LGBT instead of GLBT. I don't think that it's all that different. LGBT, GLBT, what's the difference? Is there really that much of a difference in sound? I don't know. Maybe this person just has an issue with gay men. I don't know. Maybe this person first came out as gay, couldn't get a lot of dates, and then decided to become a trap. I don't know. Maybe this person transitioned and will detransition. I don't know. Because I just don't know. But saying that LGBT sounds better than GLBT, I don't know, it really inspires me to think, to extrapolate, to use my little imagination about this person that I don't know at all, and wonder, is it just some personal issue? Because they didn't even really mention why it got changed. And of course, why it got changed was because during the AIDS crisis, a bunch of women helped out men, gay men, who were dying of AIDS. All of the leaders and successful artists and potential, business people or whatever, whoever was doing well as a gay man after the rights that they fought for in the 1970s happened, they had a nice little party, and then AIDS happened at the end of the 70s, and then in about 1988 was when the acronym was changed, according to the person in my comments. And I'll be charitable and assume that they are correct and that, this wasn't talked about any sooner or later, just for the sake of argument. Well, why was that? That was because after a while, lesbians felt compelled to help out gay men. After feminist organizing wouldn't, lesbians felt compelled to, and they felt that they should organize a community that is based around the combined interests of everybody who is homosexual and maybe even transgender, though I don't know how much transgenderism was really talked about in 1988, just because people didn't know that transgenderism was really a thing. People largely just thought of people as transvestites back then. So regardless, that's why it was changed. And hey, I don't have any problem with that. I understand it. I don't know what I think. Okay, you know what? This is what I'll tell you. I would love to hear if any of the women who were the lesbians that helped out the gay men back in the day, if any of them are still alive and interested in talking to young gay men who talk about gay male issues and talk about STDs and the current year and safe sex and meth crises and blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't know any guys like that. Gee, I wonder who they might want to talk to. I wonder which YouTubers and podcasts they might want to go on. If any of these old lesbians, you know, they would be old by now. If any of them wanted to talk, I'd be more than willing to talk, and I'd love to hear their stories. I imagine these are amazing, amazing women, and I imagine they didn't make super unreasonable demands for the most part. Because I really highly doubt that they were sitting there in their twisted little heads deciding that they were going to change the acronym from GLBT to LGBT so that they would have power over gay men in 2018. Like, I don't think that that's probably what they were doing. I don't know who advocated for this change, but gay men, I think, just decided, hey, lesbians have been helping us out a lot, and most of us are dead, and they've been doing a lot of the organizing. They want this change, so it's going to be LGBT. Let's just let them have it. Let's just let them have it. Why not? That's probably what happened. But we're not in the 1980s anymore. We are in the current year. And, oh boy, things are very, very, very much different. So why? Why should we change things back to GLBT? Well, there's 3 very logical reasons why, and honestly, these are probably going to be glossed over anyway, so I'm going to sort of keep them a little bit brief, because honestly, most people don't really pay all that much attention to logic, at least the people who I really need to get through to. One is that the majority of people who are homosexual, the majority of people in the soup are gay men. It's just true. Go to a gay bar. You know who you're gonna see mostly. There's a reason why lesbians can't keep bars open. I'm sure if you include every single bisexual woman who is sort of bi, but, you know, mostly just wants the D, then maybe gay guys might be outnumbered by bisexual people. But overall, there's just way more gay men than lesbians or bisexual people, or certainly transgender people. Everybody kind of knows it. So let's not play that game. So numerically, the G should come first. Why shouldn't the biggest section come first? Then we have the fact that the civil rights movement, you know, the 1970s, when the hardcore activism was fought, you know, there was actually riots. That was mostly, almost exclusively gay men at the time. That's just sort of how things were. So, you know, give them their credit. Finally, the spending power. When something is marketed to be for gay men, like Absolute or Sky vodka is commonly marketed for gay people. They have ads for these vodka companies at Pride festivities. Every single time I've ever gone anywhere near Pride, I see somebody wearing a vodka, you know, necklace that has rainbow beads on it or something. Has anyone else noticed the vodka advertising? Anyhow, it's marketed for gay men. It's not marketed so much for lesbians, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, yeah, those are the 3 logical reasons why it should come first. But I've realized that unfortunately I'm going to have to appeal to people's self-interest most of the time to get people to pay attention at all. So, here it is. Here's what you guys really, really, really need to know. In the current year, we're facing a predicament. you should probably change the acronym back to GLBT, because the older gay guys that are, they have the money, the guys with all the money who are keeping the LGBT organizations afloat, they might not want to give money to you forever. And guess what? The Republicans are in office. Maybe during the Obama years, it was easy to, demand that rich white gay guys check their privilege all the time because you were getting money directly from the government. The Democratic Party was funneling money directly into LGBT charities and trying to get those charities to be super feminist and blah, 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 because that was actually part of the political agenda. So there was money coming directly from the top. How long is that money gonna last? How confident are you that that money is gonna last? Do you remember what happened when Peter Thiel decided that he didn't really like the left anymore? Peter Thiel, the owner of PayPal. Well, Gawker outed him as a homosexual. I don't know if he was always a Republican. I just don't really know. But he certainly, not long after, spoke at the Republican National Convention and got a standing ovation. You see, the thing about rich gay men, and most rich gay men in our nation they do happen to be white. They don't need the activist organizations. They don't need the LGBT. The LGBT needs them. They're the ones that are donating. Do you think that lesbians have this massive amount of money to give to these organizations? It's the gay men. So if you want to have your little queer trans people of color or your black lesbian in a wheelchair center or whatever, you need to keep it open. And you're going to have to rely on charitable donations. And those are probably going to be coming from gay men. So you might want to start thinking about their feelings a little bit. I'm not saying this for me. I don't care. Obviously, I don't get offended by what the LGBT people say about me. I wouldn't have been doing my channel as long as I have. I wouldn't have been arguing on Facebook as long as I have been arguing on Facebook with people. I obviously have a pretty thick skin. But hey, I'm not some rich business person who's donating money to charities. I'm not the person that you have to keep happy. Eventually, these guys might just get tired of you. And maybe they'll give money either somewhere else or they'll start their own charities that have to do with strictly gay men. And then the true marginalized people, the queer trans people of color who deal with oppression every day, what's going to happen to them? What's going to happen at that drop-in center for kids that have gotten kicked out of their house? Will the rich gay men forget about them? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. That could happen. That could totally happen. Ugh.